UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson. The team now 6-1 overall, 6-0 against FCS teams with a shutout of Charleston Southern. Back in action at Gardner-Webb, biggest matchup on the schedule in the association this week. So, Coach, some thoughts on your team, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate every win that you can ever be a part of and that your team can ever get. So hats off to our defense and our defensive staff to be able to get a shutout. I think the last one we had was 2017 maybe. So, anytime you can do that, that's a great deal. Credit to coach and Charleston Southern, their defense, saw it all week long on tape. They don't give up very many big plays. They play hard. They got a good scheme. Gave us problems all day. Sure, there's some things we should have execute better and, hit a couple throws and, but we didn't. And so, it was 3-0 game at halftime and, scored two late in the fourth quarter to, stretch the lead out a little bit, but it was a tight game. And once again, give their kids and their staff credit for how hard they played. And, so we were able to get the win and, it's good to get a conference win and then move to this week.
I got one question. I know we have a Gardner-Webb reporter on. I'll go to him in a second. But earlier, Charleston Southern's coach, he's talking about your front seven and how your defense played. How do you think you just kept getting better on defense? You've had the big second halves this year, shutting people out too. How have you gotten better through the first 8 weeks of the season?
Well, one, we've developed our depth at our defensive line. That would be the first thing. Playing in our 3-down and some younger kids have really come on. Perk played really well this week, and Taylor Burton's a true freshman, and Toby Camp. We lost the D-lineman Devontae Murray a couple weeks ago, and he's been in that rotation, and now he's out with a broke foot for the last 2 weeks. But those other kids have come along, so that's been, I'd say, first and foremost that. I thought Tevin Shipp played well this week in the linebacker position. So we've been that's where it starts, that defensive line. I think our defensive staff has good schemes and our kids are coached, and there's a certain sense of pride over there of limiting big plays. There's certainly things every week that we see that we've got to do better, but that's first and foremost. I think we've got some good depth in the front seven, and kids are coachable and executing pretty well.
We're going to go to Jacob. He is the Gardner-Webb reporter, beat writer. Jacob, go ahead with questions for Coach Simpson.
Coach, thank you for taking the time. I was just going to ask, it looks like both of the Gardner-Webb and UT Martin have pretty strong players up front on the defensive line. So how important is establishing a running game for both teams this week?
I didn't hear the last part of the question.
So how important is establishing a running game for both teams this week, since both of the teams look pretty strong on the defensive line?
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I know our statistics say we're a running team, but we just got to improve our pass game, to be quite honest with you. We're still throwing it 30 plus times a game. We just got to execute at a higher level. We still think we've got good receivers and got to get them the ball. We need to throw the ball better so we don't have to run it 45 to 50 times a game. So we don't go into this saying, okay, we got to run for 200 yards, we got to run it 50 times. No, not at all. But sometimes those things just happen. They happen out of what the defense gives us. They happen sometimes out of our lack of execution. So you feel more comfortable running the ball. So I can't speak for them. I'm just speaking for us. But I will tell you this. Trey's done a great job. He's outstanding young head coach. I mean, to go too deep or so in the playoffs last year, they got good players defensively. This is no knock on anybody else that we played. I think they got the best personnel of any defense besides Georgia that we played up to this point. That's a very physical defense, very active. They got good scheme. They're coached well. You turn the tape on. The last several weeks I've had to tell our players, I felt like, to be honest with you, the last you know, the last several weeks, you know, we've kind of played not to lose. You know, and that's, you know, that's what you're fighting on a daily basis. This week, when I turned the tape on, I didn't say a whole lot. The kids know the caliber of football team that they're playing, and you know, it's going to be a tough challenge.
One last question from me. You're going to be traveling, and it'll be Gardner Webb's homecoming, expecting a big crowd. How do you get your kids prepared and ready to play in that kind of environment for a big game like Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of, you know, takes care of itself. Like I was saying, is that the tape speaks a lot more of what I can say. Okay, I mean, you know, every week, you know, like I said, it's get yourself ready to play to dominate, you know, those kind of things. No, this week, they know what they're up against, and I won't have to say a whole lot. Now, the travel's going to be tough, no doubt about it. We're bussing. I mean, that's the advantage. Just like when people have to come here to UT Martin, Gardner Webb certainly got, you know, those are things that you know, you play to, that teams have to overcome when they come here to play us. It's a tough place to get to at times. So, you know, obviously, you know, you're somebody's homecoming. So, you know, whether you take that as a feather in your cap or you know, a slap in your face, that's up to, you know, our players how to decide that. But, you know, it's going to be a tough contest.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I got one more for you, Coach. What about their quarterback, the freshman? He's been put into the lineup, and he was efficient, 14 of 18 last week. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, good player. I was watching him again this morning. Good player. They're very fortunate to have a young player like that with a lot of ability, look very calm, throws the ball well, obviously got some good length, and they're very athletic. I mean, that's a problem. So, you know, that's, you know, some guys, when you're a freshman, sometimes the game they've got a certain innate ability about them that they can kind of slow the game down. It doesn't look too fast. And, you know, even though it's a tough position to play, and there's still mistakes that you make on a weekly basis, because it's one of the hardest positions in sports to play. Just certain guys can slow the game down, and even their mistakes, you know, they don't look panicked, and that's kind of what he looked like to me. So, you know, credit to Trey and his staff for recruiting quality players, and looks like they've got a good player at that position at a young age.
Coach, thanks for your time this morning. Best of luck this weekend. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Hey, thank you, man.